I think about so many Korean students with whom I have conversations, and wow, man, their parental expectations are almost across the board lead the way. Koreans are much more aware of the desires and obligations coming from outside of themselves. How do I live my most authentic life?
Why on earth do I keep watching everyone else's 눈치?
Okay, we are on.
Yeah?
안녕하세요, Professor Sam here. And today I'm with Dr. Mulvey, my lovely wife. We're going to have a conversation about boxes. You know, this is the time of year, the semester's over. And what I find, I don't know if you find this, but it seems to be true that students will wait until the very end of the semester to ask questions about their lives. The big questions.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
What should I do? And tell me what to do and tell me the answer.
Like they've been waiting all semester maybe to find it out from the class, but if not, and they trust you, they will come at the end of the semester, definitely.
And they often realize that this is the last day or the last week, and so they ask these really big questions. Like, for example, how do I live my most authentic life? How do I respond to the things that I want to do?
Right.
And disregard or do something, put into a box or something, the things that other people want from me, my parents.
Yeah, I mean, I think young adulthood is about recognizing the tension between who you are, who you're becoming, and what other people expect of you. So that's definitely the time for that.
So now we can have this conversation about this book that has been out in English but is being translated into Korean.
Yeah, it's actually, what is it, the #1 a US bestseller and Amazon new release chart topper.
In the Korean title?
Is Why on Earth Do I Keep Watching Everyone Else's Nunchi?
Maybe one of the biggest reasons we keep coming back to Korea is because we're trying to understand nunchi.
It's so true. Which
That
is
makes
cool.
sense. That kind
cool.
of fits. Carrie Ulrich and Kelly Gunther are the two American authors.
Anyway, it's splash here in the US, and now Koreans will be able to read it.
The book really recognizes a struggle that all human beings have everywhere in the world, which is that we're socialized creatures. You know, we have to be socialized into our communities, our families, our organizational networks in order to be able to live in the world. But you know, once we're socialized, it means we're taking on other people's ideas about how to live life. I mean, that's the nature of it. And so nobody is 100% free to do exactly what they want to do. We have to accommodate other people. And in some cultures, you know, we accommodate more than others. Like in Korea, for example, Koreans are much more aware of the desires and obligations coming from outside of themselves. And a successful life in Korea is one in which people can really adapt well to the desires and needs of other people around them, including the nation.
So ultimately, it'll be very interesting to see how this plays in Korea.
So they have this word that they use, break.
It's an acronym.
Acronym, break. So the first B is be brave, to actually do what you want to do, to actually consider changing your life. And R
is to realize which expectations are actually boxing you in, which is internal reflection about which things don't feel like you.
E is explore the different paths that might be available to you.
Yeah, what's possible.
And A?
Act, meaning do it.
Do it.
Get out of the box.
Yeah, do it. And the K is keep going. Just like, because it's really easy to put one foot into a new path, but it's really hard to continue down that path because part of the nature of boxes is that other people around us eventually will try to get us to go back to the old way, whether it's our parents or our friends or our work environment. That's the nature of why change is so difficult.
These are the 6 boxes that they talk about. I would say things that influence how we are shaped, right?
Well, parents,
obviously.
the number one.
Sorry, parents.
Religion, gender, our background, our demographic background, cultural background, and career. So let's talk about the parents box. I think about so many Korean students with whom I have conversations, and wow, man, their parental expectations are almost across the board lead the way, meaning that, you know, my parents want this for me, and to the degree to which they almost don't even question it.
I personally studied in an international baccalaureate program, and for what I know, the highest scores are always from Korea. Is IB a big thing in Korea, or is it just like a small part of the population that do it?
Most people, if they get into like those colleges, it's their like privilege. Their parents gonna be proud of you. Like if you go to like Seoul National University, your school's gonna have like flying cars for you.
Tell people what these hagwons are.
The street would be full of buildings, and within the building there would be full of hagwons, like for math, science, English, foreign languages. There will be hagwon for literally anything.
They test you, and then if you don't get high scores, they don't send you home. So
Wait, so you get like locked into a hagwon? Your parents are paying for this, right? Your parents pay for this. The hagwons
Yeah.
you pay for.
yeah,
Right.
like
okay.
$300, $400 a month.
Okay. And it could be a lot more. If you have a lot of money,
Yeah.
obviously you're going to pay a lot of money.
Having said that, I will say that I have noticed it feels like a growing number of people whose parents have told them, listen, follow your path, do whatever you want to do. If you want to study theater or philosophy or sociology, and whatever you want to do, you just do it. For Korean parents in particular to understand some of what's going on with their kids when they're trying to break free of the boxes a little bit, so they can kind of help them along. So when I think about this, there's one of the other categories here is background. One of the things that I experience with students across the board from every country is the pressures that kids feel because their parents have sacrificed a lot. The parents aren't extremely wealthy. They don't have a great number of resources, and so the parents sacrifice for the kids to move forward, and then the children, they themselves are living inside this box, and they have to give something back to their parents because of the sacrifices the parents made.
It's funny that you say it, because when as you started talking, I thought of class.
Like social class.
Yeah, social class, and as part of background. And my hypothesis is that middle class students across the globe, middle class students might have the most flexibility because there's an expectation that they would go to a university or do something, right? It doesn't have to be a university, but it's not, their parents didn't sacrifice deeply for them like immigrant families or more poorer families, and they aren't in the more elite class where you have to be somebody. You have to be a leader. You have to have degrees. You have to be an amazing artist, right? Yeah. And so I think from both ends, it's not just parents who sacrificed, which to me is a lower class, but also the upper class.
So I think the authors of this book what they would say is, listen, follow these steps. And to people who are really in this kind of category.
It applies to everyone.
Yeah, to everyone. But I think in particular, it's very useful for people who feel like they're really stuck between all of these different pressures, so to speak. So how about you? When I think about backgrounding you, what box were you in?
You and I both have realized over and over again that we come from the working class, which is the lower class, not the lowest. You know, our parents were always employed. We always had food and a home and all of that. But I'm the first person to go to college in my family, my entire family, both sides. And there was no pressure for me to do anything, which really translated into not understanding how to navigate a career, a hierarchy of an institution, no ambition. I realized at some point around all of these very educated people that they have this navigational map. I had no map. Like, I don't even thinking about a map, you know? So now suddenly I'm thinking, wow, I could have lived like that.
We were very much in that working class box. And it's only now that we're really thinking about how to navigate at a different level in the world. It's funny. Reading this book has helped me to see the degree to which I've been in a box all these years that I didn't see, because when they talk about this in the book, many times these boxes are invisible to us. All right, let's do a quick thing on career. When I think about the career boxes, I think about Korea. I make a joke in class all the time with different groups of students. You know, it's like, look, there's certain options available to you, like business, engineering. And I had a Korean student last semester who's studying sociology, and I went, hang on a second, wait, are you from Korea? Your parents are Korean? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, how are you studying sociology? That's not possible, you know, like these boxes. And so it's kind of interesting, you know, like you have a society that has built itself, has been able to grow and become what it is because these boxes were created and said, listen, you got to be inside these boxes and you have to move forward, and we have to build our nation in the way that we are. And it's only kind of just now that people are being able to step outside of those, including, I think, because of Hallyu and seeing the value of the arts and the importance of the arts, that people are able to even step outside and do things like come to Penn State and study film and video. That's seen as something that has great value, whereas, you know, 15 years ago that never would have happened.
But that's the emergence of another box.
It's
seen as something with great value.
With great value, yeah.
I was speaking the other day about my own work, and a person was saying to me, yeah, you do the kind of work that people don't value.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And that's like, if my parents are telling me to do work that has value, and actually it's true. When I was deciding to get a master's in social work, my mom thought, what? You're going to go from law to social work? That's basically not valued.
Yeah.
And so that is a box, the value box.
So, you know, it is kind of interesting career thing. And again, it's very complicated. I was having a conversation with a student who wants to study philosophy, Korean student. This is a high school student. And I said, really? What do your parents say about that? And they're going to travel abroad and study philosophy,
Wow.
which is very expensive. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, hang on, your parents must be really wealthy. And he said, no, they're not really wealthy. I said, well, that's big. You're going to study philosophy. How did they get outside this box? But it turns out she's going to do that, but she's going to do something, take the philosophy and apply it to something
of value,
right? Where she'll be able to make money. And I thought, even when you get outside the box, you got to then create another box that looks like the box that you got outside of, you know? But nonetheless, that's kind of the nature how a lot of these things go. And that's what's interesting about this book, is you see the layering of boxes and how important it is to take time to understand these things. But if I have a book, and the book is kind of pointing out lots of different things for me, like this book does, it can keep me engaged in the conversation for a much longer period of time.
Also, just to know that other people are wrestling with the same thing, and a lot of people are thinking about how is it that we can be more authentically us and still be a part of the social world in a meaningful way. I mean, I think that's the sweet spot, to quote the book title of your book. Yeah. But the sweet spot is always being somehow in the tension of the opposites.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. That's a really cool idea, by the way. Let's recap what we're saying about Carrie Ulrich and Kelly Gunther's book. We feel trapped in some way, and they talk about the trap as being inside of a box.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they are talking about the different places, the different boxes that kind of trap us.
Yep.
And the trapping is inevitable. It's just part of what happens in life.
Or even, maybe not even want to live, but am supposed to live.
Yeah.
Right? I have a talent for something. I have a passion for something. I have a knowledge of something, and I probably should be doing something with that.
And maybe I didn't have that knowledge when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s. I didn't have that vision. But, you know, over the past 15 years or 20 years or 25 years, I've really learned something about myself. There are many people all over the world, probably most people, who don't feel the tension of being in boxes because it's just not part of their lives. They're just living their lives day by day. It's the life that they've always known. But sometimes in reading a book like this, we can learn some things about ourselves.
And it doesn't have to be, according to the acronym BREAK, like
Yes.
you're going to break your life open or you're going to break relationships.
Yeah.
Just the awareness of ways you want to navigate differently or could navigate differently
Yeah.
is beautiful.
Yep. We sing 감사합니다. Thank you very much. Yeah.